Welcome, friends, to Tao Yoga with Loren at Yoga Studio 9. And today we're going over the Microcosmic Orbit, the most famous meditation in all of the Tao, hands down. And the reason for that is because it's one of the simplest ways to increase your energy. Think about how many things we do for energy. This is like the creme de la creme, simple of the simple, of just increasing your energy, because you know where because the orbit consists of the two main energy meridians in your body. So once you know where they are, chi flows where the mind goes. Just that simple awareness of where the meridians are is going to help you bring a lot more energy into the system. It also helps you balance the energy, because it's the two main yin-yang meridians in the body. So by running the orbit, you balance the yin-yang flow through all the meridians. Okay, it helps you stay well. If again, low energy, low immunity, you can turn this on, and you can really feel yourself, increasing your immunity. If you're familiar with chakras, this is a way to basically make all the chakras kind of a single loop, so they all kind of flow into each other. And then on the biochemical counterpart level of the chakras, the endocrine glands are situated along the front. The chakras are kind of more in the back. So you've got the chakras up the back, the endocrine glands up the front, and there's many, many other implications of this. But the main overall for you to know is just, again, energy medicine. That's what we're dealing with here. You can go to a Chinese doctor. They can activate your energy with needles and with herbs, and those are all very, very good methods, which I'm currently studying as an acupuncturist. But you can also do it with your awareness, okay? And you probably notice I have a sphere, a crystal sphere over here. And the reason I have this is because the spinning ball method, the Wudong, from Wudong Mountain in China, the Wudong spinning ball method of the microcosmic orbit is by far the most powerful and simple way, potentially, if it's, practiced simply, which I'm going to share with you, way to run the orbit. Because, and this will be really helpful for you contextually to understand as well, all energy in the known universe moves in a spiral, from the smallest cluster of subatomic particles to the largest cluster of galaxies and superclusters of galaxies and everything in between. It's moving in a spiral. So qigong has kind of many definitions, but one of them is energy language. Qi is energy, gong is practice, discipline, or language. So the language of energy is a spiral. So when you open up your orbit, you might say, nature can see you now. It doesn't speak the language of English as much as it speaks the language of spiral. And when you run the spinning ball orbit, okay, first of all, the pearl is situated in your dantian. And if you're not familiar with that term, you should probably know. Dantian means elixir field. It's our main, we have three dantians, head, heart, and belly in the Tao. But our main dantian is situated in our center of gravity, because that's where our original cell was. Umbilical cord came, planted our original cell, out of which the whole body spiraled. So that's kind of like in China, they call microcosmic orbit small heavenly wheel. The center of the wheel, like the center of a hurricane, right, is perfectly still. That's the still point nucleus of the orbit. So this is a perfect balance of stillness and movement. And that's the center of our dantian. So we have this pearl. We're always using, like the dragon shirt I'm wearing. Always the dragon is guarding a pearl, because it represents our energy body as far as our own internal practice. It also represents, knowledge, the condensation of energy and power. And let's face it, this earth we're sitting on is a pearl, spiraling around the sun, which is a pearl, spiraling around the North Star, which is a pearl, and on and on and on. So this pearl business has a lot of implications when you start connecting with higher levels of energy. So one thing that I often get asked when teaching specifically the spinning ball method of the orbit is, what direction is the pearl spiraling? So the main flow of the orbit that is taught pretty much exclusively, we're going to get to some of the more advanced ones in future videos here at Yoga Studio 9, but the main flow of the orbit is called fire leads the water, which means that the chi spirals up the spine, because the back channel is fire, heat rises up the spine, and then down the front, water falls. Heat rises up the spine, water falls down the front. That's why we keep our tongue to the roof of the mouth, because that's the switch that connects the back channel from the perineum up the spine, over the head to the soft palate, and then the tongue touches the roof of the mouth, and it can flow down the front of the body back to the perineum. Well, imagine this pearl, or a tennis ball, spiraling down a hill. That is the direction it's moving, down the front, up the back, because that's the way we want the energy in our body to move. Down the front, water falls, up the back, heat rises. So as you'll see on the video, this is just the introduction video, but it starts off, you just bring your awareness to the dantian, you charge it up with a little bit of bellows breathing, and then you feel the pearl spiraling, and then that's the main, easiest way to practice it. You just feel the pearl spiraling in your belly, and out of that spiral, it kind of overflows to the whole orbit. But the full spinning ball method of the orbit, you actually take the pearl from the dantian, and you bring it down to your perineum, and you spiral it around the orbit itself. So it's an orbit within an orbit, and it gives you a focal point to put your attention, because the orbit's big. And by the way, just one more contextual thing, they say that one revolution of the orbit, a single revolution of the orbit, the energy body goes through as much transformation as happens as in an entire year. So don't underestimate this. When you do one circulation of the orbit, oh, I'm not sure if I feel anything. Believe me, your energy body does. And through time, you'll feel it more and more and more. So this spinning ball gives you a focal point to really put your attention. Okay, it's at my sacrum. It's at my door of life. It's at my neck, dissolving any tension in my neck, at my crown, and so forth. Very, very powerful. Way to run it. And it has a lot of other implications when you get into the cosmic levels of practice, which we may address here at some point at Yoga Studio 9. You're going to get to a point where you can put the energy of, it's spiraling up the back fire channel, feel like it's the sun itself, spiraling down the front, it's the moon itself, because those are pearls. Nature can see you now. You're talking its language, the language of a spiral. So I do want to impress upon you just one thing regarding this method, the spinning ball method in particular, as far as its, you might say the reverence that you want to approach it in. At the moment, it's an orally transmitted method only, meaning you're not going to find it in any books. Even feel free, type it online, spinning ball method of Microcosmic Orbit. You're going to be hard-pressed to find it. I had to go and train with very high-level masters who physically went to Wudong Mountain and earned the trust of the masters to share this method. So it's a very, very, very powerful way, like I said, to self-circulate your energy, bring more chi into the body, and even kind of like, this is getting a little more subtle, but just so you know, in terms of psychic protection, okay? When people, and that's just basically just negative thinking, when people are thinking mean about you or talking trash, whatever, and your energy might be strong enough you don't even feel it, but if you're low energy, whatever, you turn on the orbit, imagine a ball that's rolling down a hill, right? And you try to, slingshot it with something, that rock you're shooting, it's going to bounce right off. So when people direct negative psychic energy at you, that's what all the magic and the curse and all that stuff is based on that. If you turn on your orbit, it'll go right back to the source. It literally has nothing to stick on. Okay, so there's many implications. I know that's getting esoteric, but even just in your everyday's life, who doesn't want more energy? Who doesn't want to balance their energy? You can go to the Chinese doctor, which, like I said, I recommend, oldest system of medicine in the world, best preserved, but this is how to do it yourself. So I hope that's enough context. This is a very, big, don't underestimate. This is the information age. In the past, you would go apprentice a master for 10 years sweeping his doorstep, and he might teach you the orbit, and it certainly wouldn't be spinning ball. This is the type of stuff you had to apprentice people for a lifetime, quite often intergenerational, before you even got a glimpse. So I'm doing my best to, streamline this for you, to get you cooking, because once you feel it a little bit, you'll be like, whoa, and your own inner, sage, you could say, your own inner authority will start telling you, hey, spin the pearl here, and hey, it feels great. Wherever you need the chi, spin the pearl. Go right to it, because that's how energy moves in a spiral. So I definitely recommend checking out the spinning ball method of the microcosmic orbit that we're going to have here on Yoga Studio 9, and I appreciate you just being open to it and seeing how you feel. So practice well and be well, my friends.